What's up, y'all? Another episode of Shoe Booty Sports coming at you Tuesday night. It is night now, not afternoon or late in the evening, but it is whatever. It's all the same to y'all. I'm your host,
Yeah.
Grandpa, on this screen. That's Bradley Brown on the other, the clean shaven Bradley Brown with the goatee still.
I got a new beard trimmer for Christmas, and I don't think the number settings are what I was used to because after the first swipe, I was like, yeah, I messed up. So it got extra short.
All right. I cut my hair a few days ago and trimmed, well, I didn't trim really anything but the mustache just to keep from eating it when I eat food. But did get a haircut, and I just leave this alone until it gets too big, and then I just cut it and let it grow back. I'm too lazy for the trimming and all that. But anyway, we'll talk sports and then some. First, let's give a quick shout out to our sponsor. Shoe Booty Sports is presented by Rhino Races. Rhino Races is a virtual race series. It offers five different races: a 5K, 10K, half marathon, a marathon, and the one of a kind Rhino Ultra. You can sign up for one or all five of their races at rhinoraces.com. Run your race at your convenience. Track it with your fitness app of choice. Screenshot your results as proof of completion. Submit that screenshot to rhinoraces.com under the submit results section. Once your results are verified by Rhino Races staff, your award will be shipped to you by mail. Also, check out their gear section while you're there for t shirts, wristbands, decals, and more. That's rhinoraces.com. Rhino Races is the premier virtual running series, and you can find us, Shoe Booty Sports, on Spotify and Apple Podcasts. Subscribe to the YouTube channel. Follow us on X at Shoe Booty Sports. What are you checking there for those of you watching us
Uh,
live on YouTube?
Now I'm checking and pulling up the list of all the NFL coaching vacancies.
What's the latest? I saw Antonio Pierce got fired. Shocker. Um,
Yeah.
even saw a headline from Mina Kimes, who I've always kind of liked. Don't doesn't mean I have to agree with every one of her opinions, but
Yeah.
outside of sports or even regarding sports, but I've just always liked her. But I did see a headline. Now, I haven't watched the interview clip or anything, so, but it said, uh, bad quarterback play is the reason Antonio Pierce got fired. It's like, well, no kidding. It's pretty much the reason most NFL coaches get fired. Although Jets, maybe make an argument there. Although Aaron Rodgers didn't look like traditional or the Aaron Rodgers we're used to seeing, but his stats, you look at his season stats, they're pretty comparable to, what he's done throughout his career. He did have the type of game that Jets fans would have wanted to see on a consistent basis on Sunday. I did make it a point to watch that game just in case, because it's going to be his last game as a Jet. Uh, and maybe ever. I don't think he's done. Uh, but just in case, I wanted to watch it, and Aaron Rodgers looked like the Aaron Rodgers of old. It was fun to watch, and he got touchdown pass number 500, and then added three more to it. So his touchdown to interception ratio is the best that the league has ever seen. I mean, he had his statistics are maybe the most. I mean, there's Brady, right? I mean, the guy threw for almost 90,000 pass yards, 600 plus touchdowns. But Rodgers, a 503 touchdowns to just 116 interceptions over 20 years. That's and for several years, double digit interceptions, or excuse me, single digit interceptions. Still just 12, I think, this year, or 11, maybe, I think 11. Um, eh, Still Aaron Rodgers of old.
Yeah.
Um, More so, not prime Aaron Rodgers, but still the guy can still play at an elite level. I don't think he's done. I made you made a face when I said that. What are your thoughts on that?
I mean, yeah, he could still play, but I don't know. I could see him hanging it up. I mean,
Sure,
If
but
I mean,
but
he's only going to go if if the right job's open, right? I mean, if he needs to go somewhere where there's already good weapons at wide receiver and hopefully a good offensive line since he really didn't have one in New York. But I don't know what openings fit that description. You got all the weapons, you're just missing a quarterback.
two come to mind for me. But one, Devontae Adams is going to come with him no matter where he goes.
Yeah.
There's that. So you got one really good receiver there. Two come to mind for me. Number one, or the first one that popped into my head, San Francisco. Yeah, you got Brock Purdy, but Brock Purdy is due for a contract. Do you want to pay Brock Purdy $250 million? Or if you're Kyle Shanahan, do you want to do what Sean McVay did and let your, what did he say? Let's let our nuts hang and go get Matthew Stafford. If you're Kyle Shanahan, you've never had a quarterback the caliber of Aaron Rodgers. You got the pieces in place. If they come back healthy, go get Aaron Rodgers. You're telling me that's not a contender? Do you want to pay Brock Purdy $250 million or do you want to pay Aaron Rodgers $100 million for 2 years?
I don't think you're going to get 2 years out of Aaron Rodgers.
Okay.
I think he's got
Um,
one more.
I
I
think
don't
he
know
could
if
get
it's
two.
I don't know. I don't know if it's worth handicapping yourself that much. Just to take a gamble and see if you can't win big in the upcoming draft. Because who knows? And when you make that trade, you roll the dice just like New York did. He comes out and plays 4 plays and tears these other Achilles.
Okay. I mean that was a one time. I mean, Rodgers hasn't had he's been I wouldn't say he's been injury prone. He's had injuries, but it's I mean he's played in the league for 20 years. You're going to have some injuries. He's never I mean he was fine. The Achilles was just fine this year. Uh I say you if you're Kyle Shanahan and John Lynch and company, you put all that window is closing. Debo is not going to be in his prime much longer. Brandon Ayuk, you paid him a lot of money. He's going to be back. Christian McCaffrey, he's not going to be in his prime much longer. Uh, that defense isn't going to stay at that elite level, especially if they can't stay healthy. But I mean, if I'm the 49ers, I'm pushing all my chips in and saying, let's roll the dice. What do we got to lose? You I guess you're probably going to lose Brock Purdy, but you're going to have to pay him anyway. Like it's not like you're saving money by passing on Aaron Rodgers. You're going to have to pay Brock Purdy or somebody else is. Why not do it on a proven future Hall of Fame quarterback? Oh, and Super Bowl champion. This is a perfect from that area. I mean, it's a perfect. I don't know. The stars are aligning to me for that to happen. You wouldn't make that move though if you're John Lynch and Kyle Shanahan. You would not at
Not
least.
for not for 42-year-old Aaron Rodgers, no,
Wow.
or
Okay.
whatever he's going to be next year.
So you didn't see enough Sunday to say that okay, that guy can
Hey,
didn't think he could
he
still
had he
play.
had one good game out of what 17. He might have had a couple others in there.
Look who he
So
played. Look who he played for too. You got to
yeah.
factor that in. You have to consider that.
Hmm.
He played for the Jets, and a bit as abysmal of a franchise in the league that there's been for the last 20 plus years. I mean, look at his statistics. I mean, I'm pulling them up now. I'm going to pull them up right now. I got to go find it. And I'll tell you the other scenario I thought of as I'm looking this up. Or no, after I look this up, excuse me.
Hmm.
All right.
Okay.
Okay, this is how he ends the year. Yeah, the QBR isn't great, but I mean, look, QBRs are it's a tougher statistic, as far as rating. All right. 3,897 yards, 28 touchdown passes to 11 interceptions. That's a bad year.
How many touchdowns?
28 touchdowns to 11 interceptions, 3,897 yards, nearly 4,000 yards passing. Um, I'm looking for completion percentage. I'm just okay. 63% completion percentage. That's bad.
I didn't say it was bad. I'm saying it wasn't enough for me to go all in on a 42-year-old dude.
It's
Like,
Aaron Rodgers. It's not Vinny Testaverde. It's Aaron Rodgers. Those guys don't grow on trees. I mean, he's a top on anybody's list. He's a top 10 quarterback ever. On mine, probably top five.
yeah, I know you like you some Aaron Rodgers.
I love Aaron
But
Rodgers. He's incredible. The Super Bowl he won against the Steelers, all they did was throw the football, and he threw darts all game.
yeah,
He can still throw darts. All right, let's look up Brock Purdy's stats this year to compare. You're gonna have to pay him a lot of money. Like that's the thing.
yeah.
Okay, let's look at this. All right, I mean pretty good numbers. 3,864 yards passing, 20 touchdowns to 12 interceptions. QBR of 68 compared to Rodgers 45.1, so that is better. Um, Completion percentage of 65.9%. Good numbers, good young quarterback.
Good young quarterback. He can potentially be your quarterback for the next, what, at least 5 to 8 years. If he stays healthy.
Here's the question.
And
Here's the question. This is all that matters. Can you win a Super Bowl with Brock Purdy?
yeah, as long as Patrick Mahomes isn't playing against him.
Yeah, and that's probably what you're going to get. It's okay. It's going to be Patrick Mahomes or Josh Allen or another. Brock Purdy isn't those guys. He's not those guys. Aaron Rodgers is that level of
Aaron,
quarterback.
I don't know, man.
Put him on that 49ers team, and you're going to
I'm just
see
saying, is he enough to get them past the Bills or the Chiefs? I don't think he is
he gives you a better shot than Brock Purdy does right now. Right now,
right
if
now.
it's me, I'm exploring. Rodgers will do it. If I mean if that becomes an option, it's going to stir the pot. But you got to do what you got to do.
It it would be great. I mean, it'd be a storybook ending to his career. He goes back and plays for pretty much in his home state. And I don't know, didn't he grow up a 49ers fan?
Yes.
Surely. I mean, yeah, he gets to go play for his, favorite team growing up. So why not? But
Okay.
I just saying, if it's my money, I'm not making that gamble.
All right. Let me ask you this, and I'll move on to the other scenario after this. Did the Rams make the right decision trading for Matthew Stafford and trading away Jared Goff? Even though it's clearly
Yeah.
worked out for both.
Yeah. And at the time, he said, yeah. And I agreed that it was the right move.
Yeah.
But we all knew. I mean, it's all or nothing for that short period of time, and they just so happened to, be in I guess a good position as a team these last couple of years. I mean, nobody would have thought they had still been going strong after that Super Bowl win.
I
I didn't.
did. Sean
I
McVay, Matt
didn't.
Stafford, Cooper Cup. They clearly draft well. Sean McVay is a brilliant offensive mind. Uh, Smart GM. No, I felt like this would have they would have had a better record this year if they didn't have so many injuries. I mean, they're still in the playoffs. I'm not surprised by the success at all. If you can just become a legitimate serious Super Bowl contender for the next year or two, you push all your chips on the table. I'm making the move. Doesn't sound like you would, but I absolutely would. Okay, we got a lot to talk about, so we'll move on. I will say the other scenario that popped into my head: Minnesota Vikings. Yeah, I mean, Darnold is going to be a free agent. You got JJ McCarthy sitting there, but
Yeah, I could see him going to that. I mean,
like he can't, like
be a
McCarthy
mentor.
can't, yeah, McCarthy can't sit and learn for a couple of years.
Yeah, I mean I could see him going to that. I just don't. Yeah, I'm just not going to trade everything for him if I'm the 49ers.
You don't
That's
have
just
to
me.
trade any. You don't
Oh
trade
no,
anything.
I'm saying for Minnesota, it's perfect for him.
No,
I mean,
you don't trade anything. Like Rodgers is going to be like just a free agent essentially. You don't have to trade a thing. It's basically, do I
well,
want to pay?
you're kicking Purdy off the team pretty much.
Yes. Well, I mean, you're not kicking him off. You're
You're
just not going
trading
to
roster
decide.
spots. You're not going to keep them both on.
Correct. And I'd rather have Aaron Rodgers than Brock Purdy a million out of a million times. Like you're not giving anything up. If anything, you're saving money. Now you're going to have to figure it out after Rodgers is done. But if you get a Super Bowl, who cares? Like, yeah, okay, we'll go try to get the new quarterback that comes out of the draft in a year or two. Like, it can beat. Like, I like Brock Purdy. I don't love him. I mean, there are going to be options down the road. If you have a chance to win now, you do it. But if that's my preference, what that I'd like to see. But I like Minnesota a lot too. But those are the two that make the most sense to me. Okay, moving on. Let's talk. Let's talk. Okay, you mentioned some fired coaches. You were looking up the list. Who? What? I know the Giants are keeping Brian Daboll, which shows some sense because that's just a really bad team.
Yeah.
Uh,
How has Mike McCarthy not been fired yet?
I don't know what's McCarthy had to work with for one. The Bears have requested to interview Mike McCarthy. I think that would be a good fit.
Yeah.
Go get a offensive minded coach for Caleb Williams. I would be okay with that. Makes sense to me. Lot better than a defensive minded coach when you go draft it. I mean, the league is shifting uh, to offensive minded coaches. I mean, it's proven to be successful. You go hire an offensive coach as your head coach, you're probably going to have success. Sean McVay, Kyle Shanahan, um, list goes on and on. Andy Reid. Um, I mean, Sean McDermott in Buffalo is working out pretty well, but they haven't gotten over the hump in the playoffs. So, but I do like Sean McDermott. I'm not saying uh, defensive guys can't coach, but I mean, look what happened to Belichick after Brady left. You know, the league has shifted to offense in favor of the offense. So I would go get an offensive minded head coach. So it makes sense for the Bears to want to talk to Mike McCarthy.
They need to do something.
Um, but Jerry's the problem in Dallas. It's not Mike McCarthy.
Yeah, he ain't going anywhere. He's been the
Yeah.
problem for what, 30 years? It's been 30 years since
Uh,
they won a Super Bowl. Almost
yeah,
28, 28.
or close. I think it was 95 or 96 when they last won a Super Bowl. Sounds about right.
Mm,
Okay, let's talk.
I lost that list, but
Okay, you were really doing some scrolling there. So,
yeah.
okay, before we jump to college football playoff, let's talk Razorback basketball real quick. Did you watch them play Tennessee Saturday?
For like 3 minutes. And then I turned it off because I just bought a PlayStation 5. I didn't need to yeah, make myself sit through that.
That makes sense. Uh, I've I knew the game was on. I didn't know what time. I slept in Saturday. I was really tired, so I slept in past tip off. When I got up, I asked my phone. I said, "What time is the Razorback basketball game?" And it was happening. Like it had just kind of started, and Arkansas was already down like 11 points. So I was like, "Okay, well, I guess
That was
I'll."
about the time I tuned in.
Yeah, so I said I'll pry myself out of bed. I'll make some coffee and get something to eat and go or turn the game on. I do that, and by then it's already 20-point game in Tennessee's favor, and that's how it kind of it stayed. I tried to tune in, and Arkansas just isn't. It's year one. I know it's year one, and Cal really just had to put a team together as best he could. So you're obviously not going to have a team on the caliber of Rick Barnes's Tennessee Volunteers, who, he's been there for years now
Yeah.
and has established what he wants in a program and is just light years away than Arkansas right now. So I'm not surprised that they got blown out. Having said that, you're not paying a coach $8 million a year, close to it, for that. So yeah, I've got to. I'm not satisfied with that. Uh,
Yeah.
I do like this team. I don't love this team. Boogie Fland is a really fun player to watch. Hog fans should enjoy him this season because he won't be back the next.
Nope.
Nor should he. I mean, he's a ball. He's a pro. Adu Thero, same way. He's clearly become the alpha of that team. But other guys got to step up. Is it John L. Davis? Isn't that his name? The FAU transfer. He had a lot of. He was considered the top player in the transfer portal. A lot was expected out of him just based on what people were saying. He's been just kind of an afterthought. You kind of forget he's even on the team when he's been hurt, so he hasn't been out there. But even when he's been out there, he hasn't done anything. It's like this is not what I was expecting to get. Of course, some guys are going to be like that. They're either just you go from FAU. Now, he did make a Final Four run
Yeah.
a couple of years ago, but you go from that league to the SEC, it's night and day. It's not going to be the same night in, night out. But even against those lower uh, caliber teams and on the non-conference schedule, he hasn't shown up. He hasn't done anything to impress me. But yeah, it was ugly and it wasn't fun to watch. But it's early, but I still want to see more. It's early in the Cal
Yeah.
era, but I still want to see. I want to see better than that. That was terrible.
By the end of this month, man, we need to see improvements.
Yes, absolutely. Okay, college football playoff. It starts Thursday, or the college. Excuse me, college football playoff semifinal round starts Thursday, and then the second game is Friday. Of course, Thursday we've got Penn State and Notre Dame. Is it in a bowl game?
Yeah.
It's weird how they're doing it because they said the winner of like the Rose Bowl game will go on and play so and so in the Cotton Bowl. I'm like, how does that make sense? Oh, we won the Rose Bowl, so now we're going to go play in the Cotton Bowl. Makes
Yeah.
it's weird, it's goofy, but it's what we have, or how we get a playoff on a neutral site, I guess, in a way to include the bowl games. So I guess I get it because you always want a Big Ten team in the Rose Bowl and used to be Pac-12 team. But
Oh, no, I mean they're still paying out the Pac-12 for the up until next year. So there are two remaining teams each get paid, or they split $100 million for this year and next year. So pretty good payout for those two teams.
yeah, but they're not playing in the Rose Bowl.
Who
Um,
cares? You're getting $100 million.
I mean, I still like to play in the Rose Bowl, them, but they're
Sure.
they're not
Well,
that caliber team to do that.
play better, and then you can.
But they won't, is my point. I mean, Oregon State's not a Ohio State or is not a Oregon,
Or
um,
yeah,
but it's so. I mean, yeah, that's the matchup you got. That would have been the traditional Rose Bowl matchups. I mean, it made sense, but it's still weird to go from the Rose Bowl to the Cotton as advancing. But either way, Thursday night, Notre Dame, Penn State. Okay, I was 3-1 on my picks for the quarterfinal round. I was perfect 3-0 before Notre Dame beat Georgia
Yeah.
and really kind of dominated physically. I was very impressed with the Irish, and I was full on rooting for Notre Dame. When I saw what was happening, I was like, yes, I'd like, yeah, I'll be wrong on my pick, but I would love to
You,
see this happen.
you run break out your old hat?
My old what?
Yeah. Oh, you weren't the one who wore a Notre Dame hat, were you? Growing up?
I had a Notre Dame starter. Yes, I did. I had a Notre Dame hat and I had a Notre Dame starter jacket, the pullover. Yes, I was a Notre Dame fan as a young kid. Now I didn't pay real close attention to football at that age. You know, it was just like, oh, hey, it's on. I'll tune in and, check some of it out. Uh, I was a big fan of the Rudy movie and just kind of, I don't know, got enamored by, I mean, Notre Dame, just the prestige, everything that people like about Notre Dame. Yeah, I fell into that, and I don't regret it. It's awesome. I mean, they have real gold in their helmets. That's still cool as hell. That's still cool. I love everything they stand for. Um, Even like not anybody could just come play at Notre Dame. Like you have to be smart. I still like a lot of things about Notre Dame, and but I haven't cheered for them really since that time. I haven't cheered against them either. It's just they've had really hit or miss years, and the years that they have had really good records, they weren't contenders. As soon as they went up against
No.
a powerhouse, they get stomped. I.e., Alabama in the 2013 or 12 national championship game, whatever it was. I think it was 2012. Um, and yeah, it's just anytime they'd get in the college football playoff, they'd get routed in the semifinal round or
Yeah.
which was the opening round. Um, but I was fully rooting for Notre Dame against Georgia, and yeah, they looked really good with they looked really good against Georgia. Of course, that one loss to Northern Illinois, which by the way got added to the Mountain West Conference for football only.
Hmm.
I noticed I saw that on the headlines for it. I clicked record here. But Notre Dame's special teams are a lot of fun to watch too. Like getting Georgia to jump off sides with all the shifting and just the creative
Yeah.
formations to seal the game, and to see Kirby Smart like throw a fit,
You can't do that.
doing that. like, um, Yeah, I mean, he was a good sport after the game, but to see him get mad and throw fits on the sideline is always fun for me. It was like
Yeah.
that with Saban too. I always like to see those guys get beat and upset when they get beat. It's just fun. I like it. I'm not an Alabama fan. I'm not a Georgia fan. So just I'll root for Notre Dame 10,000 times more than I'll root for those teams,
Yeah.
and I'm a Razorback alum, SEC. I'm not like the of course there was that time period, when the SEC was dominant in the national championship games, and it was like four different teams in a 5 year span from the
Yeah.
SEC that won it. So of course there was a lot of SEC pride, and but I never got caught up in. I wasn't going to root for a team just because they were in the SEC. Now maybe if it was against like an Ohio State,
Yeah.
then I would pull for the SEC school. But I wasn't like I'm going to root for them because they're in the SEC. I just wasn't that guy. But I liked everything I saw out of Notre Dame. That's a really good defense, by the way.
Yeah.
Really good defense.
I think this is the best Notre Dame team that I can remember watching since I've started paying attention to football. So what, like 90, since like 96. It's
It's
been the
a
best one
really
I've seen.
it's a really good Notre Dame team. It's a really good
Yeah.
defense.
And
They
I've hated on them quite a bit over the years because they've always seemed to be overrated, and I just get tired of them being overrated.
There's no seam. They've always been overrated, or during that, not always, that during that time period. Although some people would say they've always been overrated. Um, like, yeah, I mean, their schedule isn't very strong. I mean, you play Army, Navy. Um, you're not in a conference, so I mean, there is this holier than thou kind of attitude about them. You know, being a
Yeah.
Catholic school. Um, it, pun not intended. But you know, there is a uppityness about them that is going to naturally create some haters, and uh, a lot of times they did get voted into the either national championship game or voted as national champions when maybe some other teams deserved it more, um, or at least deserved to be considered more than they were. Now, I don't know. This team though. I mean, there's no excuses. They did deserve to be in the playoff, and man, they've proved that ever since this has started.
Yeah.
Uh, Dominated. Who did they play in the opening round? Like it wasn't even close.
Notre Dame.
Yeah.
Was it S? Wasn't SMU, was it? That was Penn State, right? It was Illinois. Uh, shit.
Like I've never heard it either. Trying to look it up and can't.
Indiana.
Yes, Indiana. There it is. And they beat Indiana so bad it was I forgot that they were in the college football playoff. But yeah, you roll Indiana, you beat Georgia pretty handily.
Yeah,
And if you go make noise against a really good Penn State team,
I
yeah,
think they will.
it's all right. So let's make those picks. But these college football playoff semifinal picks before we get out of here, we'll basically kind of end the show on that. All right, let's start with that one, the Thursday night game. Notre Dame and or against Penn State, neutral site. I don't know what bowl, but that's the game. Winner goes to the college football playoff final. Who do you have?
Uh, I'm probably gonna go with Notre Dame, actually.
Okay, all right, interesting. I'm going Penn State. I think the magic runs out here. Penn State's a really good team.
Uh,
I do think Notre Dame is going to make it a game. I don't think it's going to be a blowout by any stretch of the imagination. Um, but I think Penn State is probably the better team. Um, so I'm going to go Penn State. I really like Penn State's quarterback. I like Notre Dame's quarterback. Loved everything he said after the game too, in the post game interview, in the win versus Georgia. Really, really good kid. Competitor, was going to be was a basketball player, was recruited as a basketball player, by the way, for college, and ended up being the quarterback at Notre Dame when it was all said and done to this point. But yeah, I'm going to say Penn State. I will be pulling for the Irish. 100% will be pulling for Notre Dame.
yeah.
Okay. In the other game, Texas, Ohio State. Two teams I don't particularly care for.
No,
Uh, I think Ohio State is the best team left in the college football playoff. Uh, when I saw what they did to Tennessee, I said that's a national champion. Like I don't know if they beat Oregon or I thought that I was like I don't know if they beat Oregon, but I think they can. And of course, I picked them to beat Oregon last week, and they did that soundly.
that
Ohio
was
State,
ugly,
Texas.
man.
Yeah, it wasn't
That
even
was
close.
ugly.
It was
It's
about
like,
like
dang.
Arkansas, Tennessee in basketball.
Yeah, it's like, dang, Ohio State, they got a family. Stop it.
Okay. And to hear Danny Lanning like afterward, just came off as complete sour grapes.
Yeah.
Um, just look up the clips. You don't know what I'm talking about. We're going to make these picks. Texas, Ohio State. I got Ohio State, and I got them by probably two scores, two,
Ohio
three
State
scores.
by a billion.
Yeah.
Texas has looked, man. Texas just has not looked as strong as they have earlier in the season in the last 2 weeks, man, or 3 weeks. Like, I don't know, man.
Iowa State had them beat. Um, Iowa State had them beat in the first overtime. Now, I mean, Quinn Ewers stepped up, made a play. Sark made the call when he had to, and they got it. I mean, legitimately won the game, and it was all Texas after that. Uh, you know,
What if they
another
unleash Arch Manning and he just annihilates Ohio State?
well, that won't happen. They're going to
I
ride
know. But
Quinn Ewers, but uh, Cam Scadabo
yeah.
was the real deal. That game, a lot of fun to watch. Uh, by the way, speaking of really good college football running backs, Ashton Jeanty declaring for the NFL draft. Shocker there. He had a really good game, by the way. I mean, he great. I mean, not a great game, especially compared to what he's been doing. But of course, he was going up against the Penn State defense, so that wasn't a surprise. Still looks like the real deal and very deserving to be at the Heisman Trophy ceremony. Uh, who would you rather have as a college football running back? Not pro, but college, because I think Jeanty. I think we both go that. But college football running back, who'd you rather have, Jeanty or Scadaboo?
I like, man, I'd want Jeanty's numbers. I'd want Scadaboo as the personality, though.
That's fair. I'd take Jeanty, but Scadaboo is a heck of a player. Excellent college football running back. Great, like five. I think this is his last game. What a game to go! I mean, in losing effort to be the MVP of the Peach Bowl in a losing effort, pretty cool.
Yeah.
All right, okay, we'll save our national championship picks for when it happens. But yeah, I got Penn State, Ohio State in the national championship game. You got Notre Dame, Ohio State. I would love to see that.
Yeah, that'd be a fun one. And
I
then
would
you have to
absolutely love
root
to
for
see
Notre Dame.
Yes, 100%.
Yeah.
That would be a wild twist in things. Um, but yeah, we'll see what happens this week. We'll be back next week and make national championship game picks and then some. Until then, we're out of time. We're going to get out of here. I'm Grandpal.
The Brown.
See y'all next time. Deuces.
Peace.